Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a chit chat get ready with me. We're going to be talking about relationships, girl. So this is the look that I did. So if you're interested, just keep on watching. Let me just do a disclaimer that I am in no way, shape, or form a makeup artist, nor do I think I am just a beast at makeup. I like doing my makeup, and we're just gonna leave it at that. So I have been wanting to talk about this topic for literally forever, and I feel like I don't know if it's been put in my spirit to like talk about on my channel, but that's how like strongly I've been feeling about talking about this topic. And I want to talk about relationships today, and specifically like calling it quits in relationships, because I feel like with our generation, I hate when people say our generation or millennials, but I think that in a lot of instances, if things get too tough, we just decide to call it quits opposed to sticking through the relationship or the marriage and really trying to make it work. So I want to talk about that, and I want y'all's opinion on that. Because here's my thought, and this gonna be hard. Let me try to talk and do my makeup at the same time. But my thought is, obviously things have changed, right? So, and I would even say back to our parents. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know for me, my parents are divorced. A lot of my friends' parents are divorced. So I would even say that it maybe even started with them. But when you look at our grandparents that are still married, I think from our grandparents' generation to our parents' generation, that's where things start to get a little funky. So I will say this. I think that with our grandparents, you marry out of necessity. Back in that time, as we all know, the wife typically stayed at home and took care of the kids or took care of the house, and the man went out and do something. India, do your makeup. And the man went out to bring home the bacon or be the provider. And now, with our generation, it's just obviously not like that. We are not, women typically, if you're like a go-getter, you're not necessarily, and not even a go-getter, but we just have a different mentality now where we can go and also bring home the bacon. So we're not marrying out of necessity anymore. We're marrying out of want. So we just want to be with someone, and that's why we're getting married, which, you know, it's nice. You should like the person that you want to get married to or that you're in a relationship with. So but yeah, we're marrying out of want now opposed to necessity. And so when you don't need a person and things get hard, you can just say, I'm not doing this anymore. But it's a little different when you're in a marriage and you're with that person because you need them, because they're providing for you, because you don't necessarily know or don't have the opportunities to go out and create it for yourself. So people were staying together longer, and I'm not saying that to say that love wasn't in their relationship, but I think people tried a little harder because it was really a give and take. It was a balance, I feel like, in those kind of relationships. This is what you had to do, and this is what your responsibility was, which is to bring home the bacon. And my responsibility is to make sure that these kids are taken care of and that the house is clean and that you got food on the table when you get home. Like, it was, everybody had a role and everybody was playing that role. And now the roles are like just whoever needs to do whatever. I don't think that roles are defined as much in relationships. I think that You can have relationships where you have stay-at-home dads, and you can have relationships where you can have relationships where you have can have the woman go out and get the majority of the income. It just really depends on what works for you. Or women just, you know, if we have a man, we have a man, and if not, we don't. But we're going after careers, and we're being our own bosses, and we are breaking barriers and all that stuff. So it really is just different. However, I do think that we've lost sense of being able to stick out a relationship when things get tough. Like, I don't know if it's because we live in like this fantasy of thinking that a relationship is going to be perfect 24/7, because it's not. You are whole life gelling with, let me see how this looks in the regular. Your whole life gelling your life with somebody else that is not you, that you have to learn to adjust and compromise and adapt to and learn their ways and figure out what triggers them and all of this stuff. And so it's not going to be perfect every single day. So you have to stick out the times that aren't perfect to be able to continuously have times that are, I guess. And we don't do that. It's like, if it's not working out and we in like a rough patch or a dry season, we just like, it ain't working. I think I've fallen out of love and I don't want to do it anymore. And it's like, for the people that are married, at what point do the vows play a part, and how big of a role do the vows play? Because, oh my gosh, you guys, I have been filming all this time and the ring light wasn't even on. That just, oh my God, that just made me so freaking mad, because whatever. How big of a role does the vows play? Because, I mean, and a lot of people make their own vows now, but the basic, I mean, the original vows got it pretty covered. I mean, they cover everything, and sickness and health, for richer, for poorer, to left us part, like, for better or for worse. For better or for worse. So it's not going to be better all the time. You're going to have some worse times. And what's considered, I guess, too bad of a time to where now you can't. Crap, where's my... Hold on, y'all. Let me get some chapstick. I can't stand for my lips to be chapped. But what's considered, this is calling it quits for. And obviously, I know there's all the things that we just don't condone in a relationship. So if a spouse cheats, is that considered worse enough to call it quits? Or if you fall out of love, is that considered calling it quits, or worth calling it quits? Or is it that you've fallen out of love, or you're just going through a rough season where feelings aren't the same? Because you could both be grinding and both be kind of doing your own thing, and because you're both grinding and trying to, let's say, buy a house, and so everyone's working long hours, so you're not really seeing each other. So if you're not really seeing each other, you're probably not communicating like you used to, and so the intimacy probably isn't there. So now you feel like you've fallen out of love, but really you forgot about this big picture that you guys had in mind, which was, we gotta hustle more because we need to buy this house. So it's just, I don't know. I just feel like people don't value commitment. We don't value trying to really stick by a person and make it work no matter what, and stick with them through anything. And so it just seems like, I don't know. I'm still under the I want to get married because I want to have a lifelong partner. I want to have someone that I can just do everything with. And obviously there are not going to be amazing times all the time. Like, that's just not what marriage is. But to know that you have this person that you get to go through life with, there's always going to be this one person who, no matter what, has your back, and you don't ever really have to do anything unless you want to alone again in life, is, I think there's beauty in that. And I just feel like that has gotten lost. So give me your thoughts on if you feel like it's gotten lost, that people don't necessarily value marriage anymore, or just, we don't even have to be talking about marriage, just sticking out relationships. Because I mean, if you decide that marriage isn't for you, that you want to just stay in a long-term relationship, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because marriage has turned into a business deal, and I don't necessarily want to think about marriage like that. So whatever floats your boat. But I'm more so talking along the lines of just calling it quits, which I think that people do too easily. I know there has been a lot of talk lately about B. Smith and her husband and that whole situation. So if you haven't heard, I think I should put this one on first. Let me tell y'all about this real quick. So this is the Professionals like pore filler. You can get it from like Ulta. And at first I didn't know how I felt about it, because I am mostly oily, sometimes combination, depending on the weather, or like I just feel like I have certain little dry patches. But I was using this and I was still getting oily, and I was like, it's not working. But I'm like, everything just can't not be working. Maybe it's me. So when I did my makeup yesterday for the shoot, I like let this sit on my face while I did my eye look, and it dried up and it had my face looking disgusting. But let me tell you something. I went through a whole day and my face did not get oily. So I now swear by this stuff. It is actually almost gone, and I just need to make an Ulta run in general. And I only need one excuse to go to Ulta. But so this I now swear by, because I know how to use it. But I also use this with the Makeup Forever, which one is this? The mattifying primer as well. So, but that's that. But okay, so let me give y'all background on the B. Smith story if you guys haven't heard. So basically, B. Smith has Alzheimer's. I think she's had it for 6 years now. Again, I'm just giving y'all backstory. Go find out for yourself, read more, in case I'm getting some of the main facts I'm gonna get right, okay? So I think she's had Alzheimer's for about 6 years, and her husband is her primary caretaker. And her husband has since made very public that he has another girlfriend, or that he has a girlfriend, while he is still currently married to his wife, who has Alzheimer's. And that girlfriend lives in the house with him and his wife. Now, if you don't know what Alzheimer's is, it is a disease where it attacks your memory function. So you don't really know what's going on. You start to forget who people are, and all of that. So his wife has Alzheimer's, and he has a girlfriend that is living in the house with them. He decided to make it public. Like, nobody knew about this until he decided to post about it. And let me just say this so that it's on public record. My fiance can think he gonna bring somebody else in his house if he wants to. Let me tell you what we're not doing in here, okay? So yeah, it's just been a lot of controversy about that, and I've been trying to play devil's advocate to be on his side, to maybe think about what could be his thought process. And maybe, just maybe, again, don't shoot the messenger, I'm saying just maybe. Maybe when this stage was early on, when she first initially found out that she had the disease, maybe they had the conversation of, hey, you know, I know at some point I'm going to get real bad and I'm not going to remember you, and I still want you to be happy. So if you have to move on, go ahead and move on. My only request is that you continue to take care of me because I trust you and I know who you are and blah, blah, blah. And I know that you wouldn't do anything to hurt me. Maybe that was the conversation. And I know I'm pulling at straws, but maybe. And, but again, I just feel like you didn't have to make it public. Because I've created this amazing legacy for myself. And now when people think of me, they're going to think about you, my husband, who had this girlfriend while I was sick. And that's going to be what people think about when they hear my name, opposed to this legacy that I created for myself. So, listen, that's just tough. Like, if that was a conversation that they had, which probably not, but you never know. But if that was a conversation that they had, I'm sure in that conversation she wasn't also like, yeah, and make it known to the world and humiliate me and you know, tarnish my legacy. I'm pretty sure that if they had that conversation, that part of it wasn't in that conversation. So I don't know. All I know is that in this household, that won't be the conversation. It just won't. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But this is why I think, too, going back to the whole calling it quits thing, I think maybe one of the reasons why relationships aren't lasting is because we're not having the necessary conversations that need to be had before we enter into these long-term relationships, or before we decide to get married to someone. We're not having the conversations of, if I get terminally ill, what is that going to look like for us, and what would you want me to do? Or we're not having the conversations of, if we have a child together, what are your thoughts on us raising this child, as far as school, as far as vaccinations, as far as religion, as far as just everything. We need to have certain conversations before we get with someone, or before we decide to spend our lives with someone, let me say that, to make sure we're on the same page. Because obviously in the beginning, when there's chemistry and you like that person, and everything is new and fresh, because the chemistry is so good, you're not going to think about those conversations because you think that you guys click on every level, and that's not the case, or that may not be the case. If you guys haven't had these just these important conversations. So I think that that contributes to it as well, is that you got to have conversations about what's important to you and about what your non-negotiables are, about the stuff that you're willing to compromise on. All of that is important because it ends up affecting just the rest of your life. And you want to make sure you're marrying or you're going to be in a long-term relationship because you and that person are solid on all areas, and not just because you guys have amazing chemistry. So I just wanted to hear others' thoughts on that. I thought that this would be a good topic to talk about. And I also want to do like these girl chat talk series where I just have kind of like girl talk with some girlfriends, but we talk about topics like this. Because I think that, you know, we just need to have conversations. And I think that being able to have it with a group of women, you get to hear other opinions than just your own. You get to hear other perspectives than just your own. And it can make you look at a thing that you thought, you know, you were definite on in a different way. So, can I just say, I know I look crazy right now, but I promise you, like, this was the reason my face did not get oily yesterday, because I let this stuff sit on my face, had me looking crazy. The difference with yesterday is that I got to do it in the comfort and privacy of a bathroom and I wasn't recording. So listen, just roll with me here. Have this stuff looking like this on your face and see if it don't change your life, okay? But yeah, nobody wants to get married to get divorced. I don't think that's ever anyone's plan, or to be in a long distance relation, or not a long distance, sorry, a long term relationship, and then after a certain while it ends. I don't think that's ever the goal for anyone. But I think, you know, obviously things happen, and then, you know, you end up having to go different routes or whatever the case may be. But, and somebody said, like, so what is the American dream? To meet somebody, fall in love, have kids, and then divorce after, you know, X amount of years? And it's like, gosh, no, that's not the dream, but that's what it seems like it is turning into, you know? I think I'm going to just stick with this palette today. This is the Perception palette by Shayla, or Makeup Shayla, and this collab is done through ColourPop. So I'm looking at the time right now. We've been chatting for 25 minutes. So I need to speed this thing up. So yeah, I'm just going to use one palette. But I want a relationship that lasts. And me and my fiance talk about this all the time, and we talk about conversations of, if stuff like that was to happen, what would, you know, just protocol be if somebody was terminally ill or just in a vegetative state? What would that look like for us? And they're necessary conversations, and I think when you have difficult conversations like that, you just get to see more of who that person is, and and what their thoughts are on certain things. And it may open you up and make you realize, hey, he ain't talking about none of the stuff that I'm talking about, and he definitely ain't on the page that I'm on, because he like, as soon as I'm just giving this as an example, because as soon as, you know, I get term Leo, he like, oh, he up out that thing and he about to have, you know, him a party. Like, that ain't what we doing over here. So, but yeah, I just think, what determines calling it quits, and what determines for better or for worse? Like, what are the distinctions in the two? Because when you take the vows, you say for better or for what, for worse. I feel like that's real all-encompassing. You know, like, things can get real bad, like the worst, but according to your vows, you're still supposed to stick with them. So what? So then, can you really call it quits? Are you really supposed to call it quits? Obviously not. But what are the things that you can call it quits for? Because I know a lot of women are like, oh, if he cheats on me, it's a wrap. But is that considered for worse? And are you supposed to get through that? Or is it depends on the case? So if he cheated on you one time and he said it was a mistake and he'll never do it again, and, you know, maybe he just got drunk one night, or is that forgivable? Or what if he was like, he had a full-blown affair with this woman for 3 years, and she's now pregnant, but he doesn't love her, he still wants to be with you? Is that considered calling it quits? But is that also the worst? So is that considered for better or for worse? Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, what is the... Because we can't be out here calling it quits for everything, because it ain't... Nobody gonna be in a relationship. So you have to figure out what your deal breakers or calling it quits is, what those things are, first and foremost. And then, what's for better or for worse? Because since being engaged, I've just really taken time to think about, like, the vows, and to think about the commitment that I am getting ready to make to another human being. And we are going to write our own vows, at least that's what I'm thinking, but we're still going to have those original vows be said, because I think, again, those vows literally leave out nothing. They leave out nothing. They cover everything, and you're saying that, you know, before God. So I'm thinking about in sickness and health, and I'm thinking about in rich or poor, and I'm thinking about for better or for worse, and making sure that when I say those vows on that day, which I can't wait, but I'm thinking about what that really means, and and making sure that I'm committed to everything that I'm saying up there, because I don't want to just be another number, another statistics to add to the data that got divorced, and nobody goes into it like that, you know? So it is tough. And you gotta really think about it, and how important those vows are to you. To some people, the vows aren't important. To some people, you know, they go into it saying, oh, I hear people joke about all the time of, oh, they're on their first husband, or this is my first husband, but when I get to my second husband, I'm gonna get it right. And I'm just like, is this what we do now? like, is this really what we're saying now? Like, to me, that's crazy that can even be a thing to even joke about. I would never purposely want to be on my second husband because I knew the first one wasn't going to work out. Like, to me, that's crazy, but I mean, to each his own, right? Let's see. Am I blended enough? I think so. Maybe I should have did the eyes off camera. Because, child, listen, y'all gonna need a snack for this one, okay? I just basically wanted this to kind of be like an open discussion for us to be able to talk about it, because it's a relatable topic. Like, relationships, everyone is either in one, has been in one, is thinking about getting into one, don't want to be in one ever again. So it's levels to it, but it's definitely something that we can all relate to, all give our experiences or all our opinion on. So I am interested to hear feedback. My sister commented on my last video and was like, I don't want to see you do your lashes. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, I don't know if this counts or not, because it's a chit chat, get ready with me. And that's what people do in this video, in these videos. So, I'm hoping that don't count, but if it does, here we are. I'm going to be doing the 3-in-1 method, which that's typically where you do you just put highlight in the spots that need to be highlighted. You put your contour in the parts that need to be contoured, and you put your foundation on the rest of it. And yesterday when I did it in separate steps, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I like the way that came out, but for the sake of time and where we already are in this video, solid 36 minutes, I'm going to do it all together how people normally do it. I am still getting used to doing this method. I do think once I perfect it that I will love it. Right now I'm still trying to get used to it, but I do like the idea of, if I'm just gonna put on full face of foundation and then just cover up those particular spots with concealer or something, it does make sense just to put concealer in that spot. And I think that does probably help with the appearance of like it looking too cakey and all that. So I'm willing to try it. And then I watch this lady, her name is Chanel Walker. She does lives on Facebook, and she does this method, and her face comes out freaking flawless, like freaking flawless. Comes out flawless. And I'm just trying to get to that point in my life. So I'm sorry that I'm not really naming what I use, and it's mainly because, again, I'm not a freaking professional, and I don't feel like I do my makeup good enough at this point in the game to give out advice or suggestions, or this is what I do, or whatever the case may be. So, but if you want to know what I'm doing. I have no problem sharing or want to know what I'm using. I'll definitely share with you guys. However, I'm not going to just put this stuff down in there because, again, your girl is no pro by any means. So, I'm just going to start, and I'm just going to start first by blending out this highlighted area. And, I think it isn't as wet as I would want it. And my freaking setting spray is like, I can't believe I am out of my freaking setting spray. And that one that I was using was the all-nighter, and I had went from that one to before that one I was using the Max Fix Plus spray, which I love. But yeah, so right now I'm just blending that out. I don't feel like that my beauty blender is necessarily wet enough, but I'm trying to just roll with it. But if I need to go in with it some more, I definitely will. So what you want to do is like do all the like sections together. So obviously right now, like I'm just blending out the highlighted areas first, and then I'll go in and blend out the contour part and then the foundation part. When I watch her do this, she uses a brush, a double-ended brush by Tarte, and it'll probably be next on my list to get. It's just, the brush is $52, okay? And I'm just like, but it seems like it works freaking amazing. So, and they don't have it at Ulta, so I would have to like get it at Sephora or online. But it's so freaking, I think it looks like anyway that it works wonders. Sorry, let me stay in this frame. I noticed when I just went over here, the light went a little out, so. But yeah, this literally, like the 3-in-1, I feel like is just literally a blending game. If you can blend for your life, like I think you'll like this method, but it does require you to like blend for your life. And I am going to go back and put just a little bit of foundation on my nose. So now I'm about to take just a different side, and I'm going to start doing the contour part. So I'm just literally about to start blending that in. And blending it into the highlight so that it is seamless. But no, it literally is just like a game of blending and blend and blend and blend. And when your arm starts to get tired, you should probably at least blend for another 30 minutes. So that should, oh no, so that should be an indicator. I'm touching stuff and making a mess. And I typically use this flat part to really get into my my foundation and stuff. So take that same side and just start working this contour. And it's gonna look harsh, but you just got to, again, blend for thine life. looking like somebody there. Let's just go ahead and put a, well, okay. I was gonna say put a little bit under there, but sis just went on for the gusto, so here we are. I mean, definitely didn't need that much like I got other areas. I typically put it all over my nose because that thing, listen, that thing gets oily and has no sympathy for nobody. Like, it gets oily and it don't care where you at. It don't care who, how it's about to embarrass you. It just does, okay? It just embarrasses you, and it's like, dang, you really had to do me like that. And it's like, listen, I ain't really care. You know what you had going for yourself. I don't necessarily bake. I more so just press the powder in. So that's what we doing over here. We just pressing that powder in because I'm like, stop the oil, get in there. It's what I think about when I'm pressing it in. I don't know what worked for me, so. And since y'all have seen basically the gist, I just have to do under eyeliner, put on my lashes, and do a lip. So I'll actually just come back with the finished look. Okay, so this is the finished look. Get my hair together. But this is the finished look. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys liked just the topic. I feel like everyone can relate to this topic. So thanks for sticking out. This was a longer video, so thanks for chatting with me. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.